She stood before the mirror, her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted her veil. The room smelled of roses and nervous excitement. It was Maya's wedding day. The day she had been waiting for. The day everyone said would mark her new beginning. The music, the laughter, the light, everything felt perfect. At least from the outside. But inside, her heart carried a silence she couldn't explain. Because sometimes, even when you walk toward happiness, you can still feel the shadow of what you left behind. 3 years ago, Maya had loved someone else, Ayan. They were young, full of dreams, and ready to take on the world. But life isn't kind to love that's too pure. It tests it in ways you can't prepare for. Ayan came from a modest family, working late nights to support his ailing mother. Maya came from comfort, where love had to pass through approval before acceptance. When her parents found out about Ayan, they ended it swiftly. They called it for her future. But for her, it felt like erasing her past. Ayan had promised he'd come back when he was worthy, when he had something to offer. But weeks turned into months, and months into years. No calls, no letters, no trace. Maya eventually gave up waiting. She built her life again, piece by piece, until she met Arjun. Kind, stable, and everything her parents had hoped for. He loved her sincerely, and though she tried to love him the same way, some part of her heart stayed quiet. A part that remembered Ayan's laughter under the rain. Now, as wedding bells echoed through the hall, Maya took a deep breath and whispered to herself, "It's time." But fate had one last surprise. Just as the ceremony began, a soft commotion stirred near the back door. The guests turned, whispers spreading like fire, and there he was, Ayan, standing quietly, holding a small envelope. His eyes tired but gentle. Time had changed him. A few grey strands, rough hands, a calmness that carried both pain and peace. Maya froze. Her heart forgot to beat. Arjun looked at her, confused, as everyone murmured. Ayan stepped forward, slowly, deliberately. He didn't shout. He didn't plead. He simply said, "Maya, I'm sorry for being late, but I had to see you once before you start your new life." The crowd fell silent. He handed her the envelope. "This isn't to stop your wedding," he continued softly. "It's to tell you the truth you deserved years ago." Maya hesitated before opening it, her hands shaking as she unfolded a single page. Inside was a letter, old, yellowed at the edges, written in her own handwriting. Her eyes widened. It was a letter she had written years ago, but never sent. The one where she confessed how much she loved Ayan, and how terrified she was of losing him. He had somehow received it, long after she thought it was gone forever. Ayan took a deep breath. "I found it the day after my mother died," he said quietly. "And that's when I realized. Life doesn't wait. I wanted to come to you then, but I couldn't even afford to take care of myself. I promised myself I wouldn't return empty-handed." His voice trembled. "I worked for years to build something, not to win you back, but to become someone you'd be proud of. But I was too late." Tears streamed down Maya's face. The hall was silent. Even the music had stopped. Arjun looked at Ayan, then at her, and gently took her hand. "If you need a moment," he whispered, "take it. You owe it to yourself." Maya stepped outside with Ayan. The evening sun painted the sky in shades of gold and regret. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally she said, "You didn't have to come back, Ayan." "I know," he said, smiling faintly. "But I wanted you to know, I never left because I stopped loving you. I left because I wasn't enough." She looked at him, at the man who had once been her world. "You are always enough," she whispered, her voice breaking. He smiled again, eyes glistening. "Then I can leave in peace." He turned to go, but she stopped him, handing back the letter. "Keep it," she said. "It belongs to you now." As he walked away, the wind carried the faint sound of music from the hall. her new life calling. She watched until he disappeared around the corner, and for the first time in years, she felt both heartbreak and peace coexist in the same heartbeat. Maya returned inside. Eyes red but heart lighter, Arjun stood waiting, patient and kind. He didn't ask what happened. He just held out his hand. "Ready?" he asked softly. She nodded. Because sometimes love doesn't end. It transforms. Years later, Maya would find that old letter framed in an art gallery. The title below it read, "The One That Got Away." The photographer's name, Ayan. She smiled, tears glimmering in her eyes, because though they never ended up together, they had both found closure in the story fate wrote for them. And somewhere deep down, she knew that kind of love, even when it's gone, never truly dies. It simply lives quietly in the spaces between what was and what could have been.